I'm a full-time college student who lives in a van, and a couple weeks ago I released a free PDF guide about car camping with the goal of just making $1 from it in a week. And I ended up making $95.20 in just 2 days. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what I did to make that happen and how you can do it too. If you want to jump to the technical part of exactly how I created the product, you can jump to this part of the video, but I highly recommend you watch the entire thing because the context is important. So a bit of backstory: earlier this year I landed a software engineering internship at a tech company in San Francisco, so I needed to relocate from my home in Central Arkansas all the way out to San Francisco. And that's really where the story begins. So I've been interested in van life ever since I was a kid, but at that time, in the beginning of the summer, I didn't have a van, so I didn't think that I could do van life. And then I realized I had a perfectly fine 2017 Kia Soul, so I made the decision that instead of flying out to San Francisco, I would drive from my home in Central Arkansas all the way out there and then car camp along the way. So it would be about 2 weeks of me driving and living out of my car and seeing the West and just basically having an insane West Coast road trip that I've always wanted to do. So I looked up how to build a sleeping platform in my Kia, and I basically made it into a functional mini camper. And it was actually really comfortable. So I got really good at a lot of different things. I got really good at making my car stealthy, finding free places to park by using different apps, learning how to cook food in a car, all that stuff. So I learned a lot of skills in a really small amount of time. And it was on my last leg of the trip when I was in Yosemite National Park when I had a realization. I was laying down in a meadow and I was looking up at El Capitan, and there were like two ladies behind me, and they were older and they were talking about their climbing days back in the 70s, and I was looking around and I saw a bunch of van lifers and people who were living out of their trucks and stuff like that, just walking around, and I saw a bunch of climbers just doing their thing, and I was surrounded by so much beauty, and I was eating Sour Patch Kids, and I remember thinking to myself, I am so happy right now. Like, there is absolutely nothing in the world that would make me happier than this feeling right now, other than maybe sharing this with loved ones. And I remember thinking, if I could, I would do this every single day. And then I remembered that in a few days I needed to be back in San Francisco so I could start my software engineering internship. It was for a big tech company, and it was super flashy and really hard to get into and high paying, but I ultimately knew deep down that the work was unfulfilling and it wasn't something that lit me up. So while I was hanging out in that meadow with those like older ladies and eating my Sour Patch Kids and like looking up at the sky, I realized that what I wanted in life were two things. One, location independence, meaning not being bound to a specific location by a job or by a house. And two, I realized that I wanted to make income from evergreen sources. In other words, I do the work once to create something of value, be it a piece of content like this or a digital product, and then I release it into the world, and then that thing has the potential to generate income over time. For a few examples, think of like getting Google AdSense from a YouTube video that you posted 4 years ago, or new buyers for a product that you released 7 months ago. And I realized that's what I would like to build towards. I didn't want to always have to trade my hours for money, because time is the one thing that's not replaceable and that's not scalable. Money is scalable and it comes and it goes and whatnot, but time is something that we never get back. And I knew that I didn't want to spend the rest of my young life and all the way into my 60s basically writing lines of code for a giant company. The point here is being able to make money while I'm traveling or literally laying down in a meadow in Yosemite National Park eating Sour Patch Kids. It's being able to make money while I sleep. That's the goal that I wanted to move towards. So over that summer during my internship, I decided to do two things. One, I decided to set money aside to buy a camper van after that incredible experience I had over my 2 weeks driving over to San Francisco and seeing the West. And two, I decided to start posting videos on Instagram. And here's why I did those two things. One, I genuinely wanted to meet other people like me, so other van lifers, other nomads, other people that were making money online, because that's what I wanted to do, and just generally like people that cared more about experiences than material possessions. And the second reason I did that is because I knew that posting onto Instagram would allow me to slowly grow a following over time, which could slowly be turned into a source of revenue. And honestly, by the time I started posting back in June of 2024, I didn't expect it to grow as fast as it did, and by the time that my internship ended, I had just over 14,000 followers, so that was Like after like 2.5 months, I had 14,000 followers on my Instagram. As of today, I have 24.5 thousand followers. It's worked out. I'll probably release a video at some point about how I gained so many followers so quickly, but that's for another time. So let's get into why I made the product that I made. Over the summer, as I was going to new places and doing weekend warrior shit every weekend and posting about it on my Instagram, I kept getting the same questions from a bunch of different, like an insane amount of people were asking me the same questions. Ken, how do you do that? Like, how do you make money to travel the way that you do? How do you sleep in your car? How do you feel safe doing that? And I would get the same question and I'd think, oh wow, I've answered this like 10 times and people keep asking. This is really something that people are curious about. Like, people really want to know how to car camp. So fast forward to 2 weeks ago, I'm now back in Central Arkansas. The internship is over. I have the van, as you can see, and I've been posting content every day about what it's like transitioning from college life to van life. I realized that I wasn't making money from evergreen sources, but I did have something that people found valuable that they kept asking me for. So that's the key. I had an audience that wanted to know something, how I car camped, which means that that idea was validated. In other words, you're way more likely to sell something if the audience you're trying to sell that thing to has already told you that that was what they wanted. So the best thing that I could do was to take all of the knowledge that I already had about car camping and then put all of that knowledge in one place in an easy to access way and an accessible way, and then just give that to them for a price, right? So over 2 days, I created a 70-page PDF full of everything I knew about car camping. But here's the thing, I released it for free. So some of you might be wondering, like, okay, well, if you released it for free, then how did you make money from it? The PDF was free if you wanted it to be. So basically, I gave buyers the option to choose their price, starting from $0 all the way to infinity, and no one went to infinity. The highest someone paid was actually $20, which was pretty good. And then I advertised the PDF by just talking about it in one of my daily reels. And if you want to watch those on Instagram, feel free to follow me. My link is in the description. But I basically advertised it in one of those reels saying something along the lines of like, hey, if you're curious about how I car camped in all these places without getting killed and all this stuff, I made something for you. It's a 70-page guide about how to car camp all over the place. Or you can comment the word guide underneath this video and I'll DM it to you. And that was it. That was the entire ad campaign. So I gave myself a goal that week to make $1 from it, and I honestly didn't think it would make much more than that. But within the first hour, I'd made $40, and it kind of just kept growing from there. And now current day, if I check my dashboard, it's at $120 right now, which is really cool because I haven't really advertised it since I dropped it. So it's very cool that something that I created 2 weeks ago is still generating revenue right now. The decision to make it free was really intentional, and here's why I did that. One, creating value before asking for anything in return builds trust and authority. I knew that the majority of people wouldn't pay like $10 for my guide. A few people would, but most wouldn't. So I figured that building a highly accessible and really valuable first product was way more valuable than the quick win of making a few bucks. Because basically people would understand, okay, all right, so Ken knows what they're talking about. They can condense a bunch of information and put it in one place and make it easy to understand. Okay, cool, maybe I'll get something else from them down the line in the future. That's why I made it free. I wanted it to be as accessible as possible. And also, it was my first product, and I didn't really feel like I was at a place where I could charge for it. That's not everyone's situation. I'm not saying that if you release a product that you know is going to be valuable for your audience, that you shouldn't charge a fee for it. You should if you want to. For me, I felt like my better play was to give it away for free. And the second reason I made it free is because I knew I'd get a lot of feedback from it. So that was all the context of like how the product came to be, why I made the product, and why I think it was successful. So now this part of the video is really just the technical aspects of exactly how I created the product. Making the PDF. I created the PDF in Adobe Express. I pretty much use the Adobe Creative Suite for everything, and Adobe Express comes with the Adobe Creative Suite. I use the Adobe Creative Suite because I'm a nerdy design student, but you don't have to use this at all. You can use the free version to pretty much do everything that I did in this PDF. In fact, you don't even have to use Adobe Express. You can use Canva, which is super popular, Google Docs, Microsoft Word. Okay, distributing the PDF. Where did I host the PDF? How did I get people from a reel on Instagram all the way to my website where they could put in their card information and their email to download the PDF? How did we get from there to there? The place I hosted the PDF is called Kit. also known as ConvertKit. Kit is a platform that allows you to do a bunch of things, but it's most popular for email marketing, landing pages, and selling digital products, like me. And in my case, I use Kit to do all three. And it's even where I host my newsletter, the Kin List. Feel free to subscribe to it if you'd like more stuff like this delivered in your inbox every week. So Kit is awesome because they have a free creator plan that you can use all the way up to 1,000 newsletter subscribers. So for most people, that's really accessible. It's the plan that I use, and I recommend it if you're starting out. So basically, if you're just starting out and you have no audience, you can get in there, make an account, and create a digital product like today if you wanted to. Another tool that I used is called ManyChat. So if you remember earlier in the video, I talked about how people could get the link to my PDF if they commented the word guide under my reel on Instagram. The way I did that was by using a tool called ManyChat. And ManyChat is basically an automation DM. It's basically like a DM automation tool. So you can set it up to where if someone comments a specific word in your comment section, you will automatically DM them the link to that. And it's an automation. So whenever someone would comment guide, I wasn't the one DMing them the link to my PDF. It was an automation. A bunch of people commented guide and got sent the link. So that helped a lot with getting leads to my website, and I would definitely use ManyChat again, and I really recommend using ManyChat if you want a really seamless way to get people to your valuable product even faster. So that's it. That's how I made $95 from a free PDF in 2 days. If you found this video useful, feel free to leave a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you want to learn even more about this stuff and build your own products and build an audience and grow and create a life of autonomy outside of a fucking 9-to-5, then join my newsletter. It's literally all about that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.